Dan the Man.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me who you are.
My name is Dan Swei, from Portland, Oregon, born and raised. I am 47 years old. And yeah, I am currently medically retired.
Okay. You retired?
Yes, I am medically retired. I have many medical issues, chief of which is probably the borrowed kidney I have in my stomach right now. I went through a kidney transplant about 2.5 years ago, I think. Before that, quadruple bypass surgery. My most recent surgery was a eye surgery to restore my vision in my left eye. Currently, the vision in my right eye is basically gone completely. Yeah, that's why I'm medically retired.
Okay. I've never heard of medically retired.
Well, retired, but retired due to medical reasons. So I'm on disability. So I am retired because of medical issues.
Okay. Cool. So, Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
What was your life living like growing up in Portland, Oregon?
At the time, I grew up in a suburb outside of Portland called Cedar Mill, and it is, at the time, it was mostly like white folk, a lot. I was pretty much the only Asian kid in my class up until like the 6th grade. So yeah, grew up I grew up poor, basically. Parents were struggling, they were immigrants, so struggling to bring us up, me and my 2 older brothers. Life was rough, and yeah, that's it. Basically.
Do you have since you said life was rough, like, do you have I know you're a little older, so maybe your memory still serves you. Do you have like a core memory of like one of those rough times that you can share?
Probably eating. I mean, I'm obviously a huge guy. I was a big ass kid too. I ate a lot, or I wanted to eat a lot, but oftentimes we don't have the money to eat well. So there's a lot of fighting and elbowing to get extra food on your plate when you're a kid. Probably the memory about that, the one I remember the most, is going to school and everybody taking their lunches out. And I had a ham and cheese sandwich.
Man.
And that's it. That's all my mom could pack for me for a long time. And it was hard because we couldn't even afford getting school lunches.
Right.
So yeah, it was pretty rough. But big deal.
So they didn't have, when I was growing up in school, they had a free lunch program. Like, they didn't have a free lunch program?
Yeah, they had a free lunch program. It was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Still bullshit.
So yeah, not exactly the most nutritious. At least I was getting a little protein with that, fake ass ham or bologna, whatever it was on the menu that week.
Yeah. So did you how was school through all this? Like, how was just your whole well-being growing up, like not having as much as others?
Well, I guess I didn't grow up. My parents were not. It's very non-typical situation. My parents were an arranged marriage. It was pretty rare to see an arranged marriage now, but back in the 1960s in Korea, it was still kind of fashionable. So my mom and dad didn't actually meet until my dad came to marry her at the airport. Or they didn't get married at the airport, but he came to the airport from, I think he flew in from Japan to meet my mom at the airport. And then they went and got married like 2 days later. It didn't go well. It wasn't a good meeting. My mom had already had a boyfriend at the time when she was being forced to marry my dad.
What?
So she picked him apart, like, ruthlessly. And so by the time I was born, they'd been married for 7, 8 years, I think, 7 years. And they hated each other.
Really?
It was not a good situation. My mom simply just despised my father. My father was not really a great husband. Not a great father either, but, you know. Yeah, so it was rough at home.
So, who makes the decisions to like?
My grandmothers, they matched together.
Like were they cool?
So they went through a matchmaker. The matchmaker would find another family, and then they would go through the family history, and then they would decide that this person is a good match. So yeah, it wasn't like really common in the 60s, but it wasn't rare either.
You just have very traditional grandparents. Is that what that is, or what?
I do not. My mother is not a traditional person at all.
I mean, your grandparents. Would you say
Well,
that
my grandparents were
pretty traditional?
Very traditional, yeah.
So, and your mom just had to fall in line. Like,
Yes.
it didn't matter.
She was not happy about it. My mother is the most atypical Korean lady you will ever meet. When I grew up, it was totally normal for her to let me try smoking cigarettes and drinking beer. She thought it was hilarious if I cursed. Me and my brothers had curse fights where we, you know, say fucking shit and asshole to each other. She thought it was the funniest thing ever. Yeah, my mother is not a typical parent. So I grew up pretty free to do whatever I wanted, which probably wasn't a good thing for me. I grew up with no discipline, basically.
Yeah. Now, and what about your dad?
My dad and my mom split by the time I was born. Yeah, so by the time I was born, they were already separated, basically living separately already. And then by the time I was actually 5 was when my mom actually got the divorce from him. Didn't see my dad a whole lot growing up. Outside of maybe once or twice, I don't think he ever remembered a birthday. Anytime he did call me, it was a day after, and it was because my mom called him and said, "You piece of shit, you forgot his birthday." So yeah, that's what it is.
Man.
I have a great relationship with my dad. He's passed now. I have a great relationship growing up with him. But before he passed, we made peace.
That's good.
And he admitted all his faults, and he asked for forgiveness, and I was amenable to it. So
Wow.
yeah, that was lucky. That was nice to do
Yeah.
before he passed, because he literally passed like 2 years later. So.
What did he pass with?
He had a stroke. Yeah. Yeah, I'm genetically kind of screwed here.
So, I guess, what's your relationship with your mom now? Are your grandparents still alive? Are they going to?
No, my grandparents passed a long time ago. My grandmother passed when I was like 10. My grandfather on my dad's side, he was in the Chinese military. My grandfather on my dad's side is Chinese, so I have a Chinese last name. He and my grandmother met because my grandmother was working as an interpreter in China before communism. Grandfather left during the Communist Revolution, and he left my grandmother and escaped to Japan. And my grandfather on my mom's side, he passed right around when I was about 18 or 19. He passed. And my grandmother passed away about 10 years ago. Yeah, my daughter was like 2, so yeah, like about 10 years ago. She was 90.
Wow.
Yeah. I was her favorite grandchild anyways.
Yeah.
She raised me since I was like 6 months.
So how's your relationship with your mom?
Contentious before, but now we are cool. I think we had a lot of issues before, but now I think we both accepted that neither one of us, I am basically her in personality, and neither one of us is willing to just straight up say they're sorry for the shitty things they did.
Yeah.
So we just kind of accept that that's really how we feel,
Right.
and it doesn't need to be said. So I think my mom and I have a really great relationship compared to what we used to have.
And so being a man now and having kids and a whole family, do you feel like not having your dad in your life affected the way you develop as a man?
Oh, absolutely. I was starved for male examples to be around. I grew up, like I said, like my grandmother raised me from when I was 6 months old to like I was 6 years old. And then after that, my mom has 4 sisters. So I was raised around all the women in my family, and I didn't really have good male role models.
Right.
So my dad was never around. I mean, he'd show up on the weekend once a month for his, parenting time. But my parents played favorites, and I wasn't anybody's favorite. So that affected a lot of how I feel about them. That actually affects a lot how I feel about my daughter, and why actually my wife and I only have one child. Because I'm not putting another kid through that bullshit. So yeah, I'm a much better father than my father was. Yeah.
Did you ever find yourself like, I want to ask this because, I grew up without my dad. And as I grew up, I'm just now starting to see the effects of not having my dad around, right?
Sure.
But as I was growing up, and I started to like come into like the state of mind of being a man, I realized I didn't have no role models either. So
Yep.
I would take what I felt a man was from different men that I met throughout my 20s.
I'm exactly the same.
You know what I'm saying? And I applied it. Like I take a little piece here, a little piece from him, a little piece from my boy Kareem, like a little piece from, my coach and stuff like that. And I would like try and build who I am off of it because I didn't have no foundation.
See, I think I'm probably luckier in the fact that like the way Korean culture is structured, it's very hierarchical. Mm-hmm. So like we're a Confucianist society, so everything is about hierarchy and family. Mm-hmm. So we do, everybody has a title, everybody has like a rank basically. And so like you have older brothers, older friends, they're an elder, somebody that you're supposed to show respect to and listen to. And I had a lot of those. And there was one guy in particular who was, I guess we call him like our songband. He's like the number one guy. And he was my second brother's best friend growing up. And he's really the guy that taught me what it meant to be a man. He's the guy who really tried to guide me in the right direction. Actually, he's the reason why I started martial arts. Because of him. He told my mom, basically, he said, you need to put him into martial art. He has no discipline right now. He needs structure. And so he told my mom that. And so my mom was like, okay, I'll do it. And that's how I started doing martial arts.
How old were you?
12?
12.
Yeah.
And
12 or, yeah, 12?
yeah, you know, man, I really wish I would have did martial arts around that age.
Yeah.
But my mind was, it's so important to have a dad around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a male figure. When I was growing up, I was like, it's cool. Like my mom got it. Like she's good. She's taking care of me. I got a roof over my head. It wasn't until I got older where I started seeing like, oh shit, like I don't know how to be a fucking man. Like I don't know the morals. Like I'm a man, but I don't know the morals of being a man. I don't know like necessarily like responsibility or like jobs and just little small things that we ain't paying attention to. I grew up thinking only about the roof over my head, clothes on my back, something mom's taking care of.
You know, like you see things like you see the way guys act on like TV and movies, and that you think, oh, maybe that's a man.
Maybe, exactly.
And then you start trying to act like that, and then you just kind of end up looking like an asshole.
And you becoming somebody that ultimately you was probably never meant to be.
Yeah. But like I said, I was fortunate in that I had somebody who gave a shit enough about me to try and guide me.
Yeah.
Like an older brother, who wasn't technically my older brother, but you know.
Yeah, and I did too.
He was my older brother.
I did too, but you know, like the dudes that was trying to like help me, they were like white. You know what I mean? And it was hard for me to like get that from somebody that didn't look like me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, it's not relatable.
And not only are they white, they're like white, like Texas living in country white. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, I can't resonate with you.
It's not relatable.
Exactly. And the only male figure I had after that was my uncles, but they were all like, at that time they were like gang members and you know what I mean? Like
those people don't know what it's like to be a young black guy. You know? Like if I had like a black male role model when I was growing up, it would be different because he doesn't know my culture.
Exactly.
And he doesn't know how it is to grow up in my culture. So it's hard to take what that person says and apply it to yourself. I understand that.
Yeah, it definitely made me realize how underdeveloped I was compared to a lot of my other friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, but anyways, okay, cool. You're 12. You're in martial arts.
Mm-hmm.
How did that change who you were? How did that?
Well, it turns out I was pretty fucking good at it, and so like I got my first rank after only like 2.5, 3 months, and then right after I got my first rank, competition. So that's when we started our competition. It was like really quick. I went maybe 3 months, and then all of a sudden, okay, you're gonna go start competing now. Okay. And it turned out I was pretty good. So I leaned into it a lot, and that became my identity basically. And then I had another male figure to look up to, who was my Taekwondo master. This is not Olympic style Taekwondo, this is old Taekwondo. This is different. It's more like karate style.
Traditional type.
Yeah. So I didn't learn Olympic style Taekwondo until probably like the mid-90s.
So what was some of if you can remember, who was the coach that left the biggest impression on you, and what were some of your core lessons or memories that they were able to teach you?
The coach who left the biggest impression on me? Oh.
Do you still think about to this day?
I've had a lot of coaches. I mean, like 30 years worth of coaches, so. I don't know. I guess the first one probably is the one that had the biggest impression on me. Of course, now he's like wanted by the FBI.
For what?
Embezzling.
Wow.
He embezzled a shit ton of money out of investors, parents, and the students of his school. He's living in LA somewhere. He's hiding. Probably statute of limitations.
Yeah.
Way over on that. That's a long time ago. So, but Yeah, even though he's an asshole, he's probably the most influential on me, just because I was really I didn't have any confidence growing up as a kid. I have no dad. I'm the youngest. Nobody seemed to give a shit about me and my family, so I was always kind of, off on my own.
Yeah.
And then that guy came along, and he gave me a purpose. And that's, martial arts was my purpose. So yeah.
Okay. And
Shout out to Master Lee.
Master Lee.
Shit.
Yeah, cool. Now, so how did you end up here in LA?
I wanted to fight professionally in the early 2000s. Late 90s, early 2000s. It's a little hard to do that back then. It's much harder back than it was to do it here. In America. If you were in Europe or Asia, it's a lot easier. But back then, Muay Thai, kickboxing, it wasn't really very popular. Had a short run in the 70s and early 80s, and then everything turned into taekwondo and fancy kicks and those kind of stuff. And so my friend had moved down here. My best friend moved down here to go to school, and then he stayed here. I was working for my parents. I was working for my mom and my stepfather, and their business was going under. I don't have nowhere to go. And my best friend was like, "Hey, just come down here. Just stay with me until you can find a job, get a place." It's like, you want to come down here and fight? It's better to fight down here. There's other gyms. There's a lot more competition. There's freaking world champions down here. It's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna stay up in Oregon? Maybe go to Seattle? That's it. It's like, so I picked up, moved down here, and that's it. It was a lot harder for me to be a professional fighter. I didn't have any money, didn't have any support. Most of the guys that I knew that were fighting, amateur or professional at the time, they had parents that they lived with or that could feed them.
Right.
Some of them, girlfriends. They just got girlfriends so that the girlfriends could feed them and then they could stay at their girlfriend's place. I knew some guys that were literally sleeping in gyms because the gym would let them stay there as long as they taught class. It's rough. I didn't have anything to do that. So I had to get a full-time job. And training, full-time job. It became really hard to keep doing what I wanted to do. And so I started training less and less so that I could eat and I have some place to sleep. And then eventually I found my wife, met my wife, and then I was like, I gotta really bite down here and just start working and start making some money. So that's how I ended up here.
Getting a woman will do that to me, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to live for just myself anymore.
Right.
I want to build something.
Right. So, how did your life change after you met your woman?
Well, every newlywed couple goes through a couple years of a rough patch at first. And after that, we're together.
I'm talking about in the beginning when you first met her.
Oh, when I first met her? Well, I got set up with her from a friend of mine, our mutual friend of ours.
Sound like an arranged.
But she said, she told her friend, our mutual friend, I like to meet a really big guy. Just like a monster of a guy. And my friend Kay, he's like, oh, I got the guy for you. And he sits next to me at work. And so he set us up on a date.
How big were you?
Huh?
How big were you?
Oh, 6'4", 200 and, let's see, at the time, maybe probably 240 pounds, 245 pounds. And I was on deer at the time. So I was pretty fucking big. So yeah, that's how I met her.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's get into the good stuff, man. Like, how'd you end up with all these health complications?
Well, some of it is genetic.
Which one is genetic?
I have diabetes is genetic in my family. Hypertension, diabetes. So blood pressure, diabetes. Those are two things that will kill your vision and kill your kidneys. And I took a long time off of training after my daughter was born. Before she was born, I was just kind of off and on at different places wherever I could train. Nothing really consistent. And then after my daughter was born, I really bit down and was like, second job, driving Uber or whatever, and working 16 hours a day, supporting my family, and then I just wasn't taking care of myself, man. And, when you fall into that kind of like rhythm, you just you start putting things off. You start making excuses for why you're eating like shit. You do things because you're stressed at work, and yeah, I mean, everybody goes through it. It's not anything special for me. It's just that I have a medical, history in my family of certain problems, diabetes being one of them. It's mostly the reason why this eye is not working anymore. I lost the vision of this eye temporarily because I kept getting hit in the face. I should probably stop fighting. I should probably start wearing a headgear, actually.
Yeah.
But with the kidney, high blood pressure, diabetes, that is, a recipe for disaster. I was working as a project manager at the time for a lighting company. And we were changing all the lighting for a place called WeWork. I don't know if you ever heard of WeWork. It's a shared office space company. Yeah. We had a contract to retrofit all the lighting to LED lighting in all of their buildings. And I was in Hollywood at the WeWork in Hollywood, and I parked up the street, and I was just bringing some LED lights in that we were going to install later that night. It was in the afternoon, and I was bringing it in. I had to walk up this hill, maybe 50 yards, and I couldn't fucking breathe. I literally had to stop, put the box down, and say to myself, like, I might need to call an ambulance. So I pushed on and I got to my car, sat in my car, called my boss, told him I need to go to a doctor. I'm not gonna be able to go to finish this job at nighttime. The crew's gonna have to do it on their own. Called my wife, told her I need to go to a doctor's office. Went to see the doctor. It was a new doctor. I didn't go to see my old doctor. He was a younger guy I went to go see.
Yeah.
Took a bunch of tests, and he told me, I'm gonna call you, go home and rest. I'm gonna expedite your tests, and I'm gonna call you in a few hours. So I went home, laid down. He called me like maybe 2-3 hours later, and he said, get to an emergency room right now. Like, if you need to, I'll send an ambulance for you. And then I said, okay, I think I can drive myself. He said, if you can drive yourself, tell me what hospital you're going to. And I'll call the ER and tell them that you're coming and what they need to prepare. As soon as I got there, I didn't know anything. He didn't tell me anything. He just said, go there right now. Hang up the phone and go there. So I drove there to the Providence. You know where Providence, or the one that used to be on 3rd?
Yeah.
I drove myself over there. I got in there, and then the emergency room let me in right away. They said, "You're in end-stage renal failure. Your kidneys have shut down. Now your other organs are starting to shut down too." And so they put a perma catheter in my chest, started dialysis. They put me on dialysis in my hospital bed for 6 hours first. And they gave me a 6-hour break. And they did it again for another 6 hours. And yeah, I almost died. I was like that close to dying.
Wow.
And yeah, doctor literally told me that was like the worst. That was the worst blood and urine sample he'd ever seen. He's like, you're literally like so close to dying that if you hadn't gone to the emergency room, I was gonna send the police to your house and take you to the emergency room.
Wow.
So yeah.
Damn. Do you feel like not only just like the unhealthy decisions, but do you feel like the gear was like contributed to that?
I don't think so. I didn't do gear that long. I did 2 cycles for like 4 months each cycle. So I don't think it was a gear.
What does it do?
It's testosterone, and
Okay.
so I took testosterone. I took Deca and Winstrol, and yeah, he just made me a lot stronger, made me recover really quickly. I was taking a grappling class at the time, and there was some 350-pound former Division I collegiate wrestler. He came into the gym and he said, "Oh, I'm a beginner."
Right.
And so we were grappling, and I asked him if he wanted to start on our knees or like if he's cool standing or starting with the knees. He said, "Oh, I want to stand." I said, "Okay, all right." I said, "We're gonna go," and he just came in, scoop slammed me, and all 350 pounds of him, all 250 pounds of me, slammed onto the ground, right on my ribs. Got a little crack in my ribs. And I was on gear at the time, and the doctor's like, "Well, it's gonna take like maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months to fully heal." Well, while I was on the gear, it took 3 months.
Wow.
3 months, and I was ready to go again. So yeah, gear helps a lot. It helps a lot, tremendously.
I might have to cut that out.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So, going back, do you ever feel like I studied Dr. Sebi? Have you heard of him?
Say again?
Dr. Sebi. Have you heard of Dr. Sebi?
I think so.
He's a herbalist,
Okay.
from Honduras, and he's known for being the man that came up with the cure for AIDS.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
and obviously, the theory is that the CIA or the government killed him because he was ruining big pharma companies.
All right.
He had people coming with actual proof that what his teaching is actually curing him of AIDS and all type of sickness and diseases. So that's why I literally study after him. So my question to you is, have you ever thought about
What,
using
herbalism?
herbs
and
I'm talking about
holistic methods?
yes. Have you ever used it?
Bro, I'm Korean, man. That's all my wife was trying to get me to do. She tried to get me to do everything.
Are you doing it?
Acupuncture, reflexology, what do you call it? Hanyaks, like medicine, all kinds of shit. She just forced it down my throat. Me personally, I'm a results kind of guy. So if I don't see a result, then I'm not gonna mess around with it. So all that stuff that she tried on me didn't do anything. So, yeah.
What kind of herbs were you taking?
I don't fucking know, man. It's like Korean stuff. Ginseng, ginger roots, deer antler shit, and all kinds of stuff, man.
Yeah. You know, I say that because, man, there's more powerful. Now, I believe in Chinese herbs. I take them for like.
You don't take like tiger foreskin or anything like that.
I take mine for, even though I don't need to take it for testosterone. Like I take like Sustance, Tunka Ali, Pine Pollen.
I'm not saying that I don't believe that there are natural benefits to eating certain.
Well, I'm talking about like things that are not. I'm talking about like Jamaican herbs, African herbs. That's like another realm of.
Look, I'm not saying that I don't believe that there are natural remedies. I'm just saying, like, for me, like, a lot of the stuff that I tried, that my wife forced me to try, didn't do shit. Didn't do anything. So, you know, I wouldn't recommend anybody try anything that didn't work in my, in my experience. But I mean, all the modern medicines that we have nowadays all came from natural remedies.
Yeah.
You know, herbs and, you know, other compounds that, you know, ancient people knew about. So it's not that I'm saying that I don't do that. I'm just saying the shit that I tried didn't do anything.
Yeah, it didn't do nothing. Okay, cool. So, do you fully trust the medical system? Do you fully trust the pharma?
Not the medical system, but doctors that know what they're doing, yes. It's funny you bring that up because part of the reason why I had all of the high blood pressure problems was because the doctor that I was seeing at first, he kept prescribing me like these blood pressure medication, and then he just kept telling me, every time I saw him, he would just tell me, you need to drink more water.
Yeah.
You need to drink more water. I said, motherfucker, I'm drinking a lot of fucking water here. It's not getting better. I'm just getting bloated. And I was getting an edema all over my body. Just basically like, you know, you could push your finger into my arm and like an imprint would just stay there for a few seconds. Like that's like how much water I was taking in. And, you know, yeah, I don't trust that guy. I mean, I'll give you some advice. There's a sweet spot, in my opinion, for doctors. A doctor who's in his early 30s up to like early 40s. It's probably too young.
Right.
A doctor who's in his late 50s up is too old. That's a sweet spot in between the 40 and late 50s. That's a sweet spot because, in my opinion, the doctors that I'll see now, that's where they're at. In my opinion, the younger doctors might be a little too eager, a little too arrogant. Not all of them, but they might be a little too eager, a little too arrogant. Older doctors, they don't stay up to date on things.
Yeah.
They get lazier as they get older. That's my opinion of what this doctor did to me. He was just doing the bare minimum. So if you can find a doctor who's between 40 and mid to late 50s, that doctor is probably old enough to know that he doesn't know everything, and probably wise enough to also be trying to keep up with everything that's coming out at the same time. Technology, new medicines, and information and stuff like that. So that's a piece of advice for anybody watching this right now. Then keep that in mind.
Okay. Cool, thank you. So here's I got a little quote for you. Not all fighters are in the ring. Not all fighters are in the ring. When you hear that, what comes to mind when you hear that?
Not all fighters are in the ring. Well, I mean, yeah. You fight every day in life. You fight to stay alive. You fight at work just to make a paycheck. So not all fights are in the ring. Some fights are in your head, some fights are in your heart. So I agree with that. Not all fights are in the ring.
Okay. Who's the strongest fighter you know?
Like an actual fighter, or
When you hear the word fighter in a general sense,
I don't know.
who comes to mind?
If it was me like 25 years ago, probably I would have said somebody like Raymond Deckers or Mirko Flipovic, Krokop. Those were my favorite fighters growing up. But now that I'm old and all the shit I've been through in my life, I'd say the strongest person I know is my wife. Because for the last 7 years, she has basically kept everything together while I've been basically useless long. Going through dialysis 3 times a week, 4 hours for each session, drains you. I don't know if you can see this right here. This one, where my dialysis entry was. I was basically not able to do anything all day. And my wife took care of our daughter, made food for us every day. She went to work every day. And I know she had a really hard time. And I know there were times where she'd cry and get upset. And she still hung in there. So my wife is the strongest person I think I'll ever know. Yeah.
Beautiful. Right. If there was 1 million people in front of you right now, what would be some words of wisdom you'll give them to carry on in life?
Well, I'll tell you what. I give my daughter 3 rules to live by since she was little. Since she could understand what I was saying, I've been drilling this into her head. It hasn't gotten in there completely, but
It will.
I still continue to do it. So 3 rules. And rule number 1 is to keep an open mind. You don't need to listen and believe everything anybody says, but it doesn't cost you anything to hear them out.
Right.
In anything, life, love, politics, it doesn't cost you anything to just listen to what people have to say. Because you might find that if you keep your ears open, you might find some kernel of wisdom in what they have to say. And that leads me to rule 2. Knowledge is key. So you need to fill your head with as much knowledge on subjects as possible. If you hear somebody tell you something that, this is happening and you need to do something about this, or I'm going to give you an opportunity of a lifetime. You just got to give me all your money or something like that. Now, if I just believe you and I give you everything and it turns out to be a scam, you're screwed. But if I take the time to study, research, look up things, ask questions, and fill my head with knowledge before I make a choice, a decision, then at least I know that whatever decision I make is fully informed. Which leads me to rule number 3. And rule number 3 is the most important rule, but can't be done without rules 1 and 2. And that's, our lives are all made of the decisions that we make in life. Everything that we do in life led us by the decisions that we made. Something small or something gigantic. It's your decision that made you there, that led you there. So, make good choices, because good choices give you good outcomes. You can't do that without having an open mind, and you can't do that without filling your head with the knowledge to make those good decisions. That's it. Those are rules 3. The 3 rules I give my daughter.
Cool, man.
I don't explain it to her that way, because she's got a
Yeah.
She's got the attention span of a gnat.
All right, cool. All right, man. Thank you. You got any shout outs?
Just to all my coaches and all my training partners, and to my wife and my daughter.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
All right.